The Ghana Women Experts Project is ascertaining the number of women experts who speak to topics on news programs.
So we monitored 6 media outlets, 4 radio stations and 2 television stations over a 5-month period, just counting the number of women who are interviewed on selected programs.
These 6 media houses were chosen because they are the most listened to media stations.
What we found is that there aren't a lot of women who are being interviewed in media for their expertise. They do speak to some women, but it's not comparable to men.
It's not surprising because even if you look at our governance system and when it comes to women representation, you see that it's woefully terrible. There's nothing to write home about. So I guess what we're seeing on the show is just the tip of the iceberg in terms of what's happening in the larger society. So if you're looking at having political party representation, it's what is at the top that eventually you have somebody coming down to represent. So if there are lots of women represented at the top in terms of our governance system, political party activities and everything, then in terms of probabilities, you get a fair representation. But here's a case that most of our political space is dominated by men.
I don't think that there are not enough women in different areas. We have a lot of women who are in different sectors. The issue is their willingness to come out to speak and their availability.
Every morning things happen, and when things happen, the natural order is to find somebody as soon as possible who can readily respond to what's happening on the go, get context, get answers to feed your listeners at that point in time. Now, often when you call a gentleman to see to these concerns, they may give you a minute or two to ask for context, and then they'll say, okay, let's go. But for the woman, you say, well, I will need about 6 to 12 hours to be able to prepare well and come and give you proper context and proper detail. And so once that happens, the natural forlorn option is not the woman.
When we get to the trending segment, I call women, sometimes from even parliament, and they tell you that, okay, I will have wished to speak, but the notice is too short. So they might be available, but the availability is not timely enough.
You always get journalists defending why it is that they can't get women on panels. But sometimes I tell them it's also how you go about looking for women and how you go about that kind of time lag you use. You don't plan properly.
Some women struggle to find the time to appear on media because of their commitments. If they're not driving, I don't know how many miles to work, they probably have a household to run and young children to take care of. And with the traffic situation, you can't really get to a media station at 6:45 or 7 and then continue your day. I've been very fortunate in that anytime the media has called me, I've had a solid network that I can rely on to take care of whatever I can do before I go. But then again, they tend to call women at the last minute. And somehow, I think it's after they've exhausted their panel of male experts and they say, okay, what about this woman? And if you call me at 11 p.m. on a Monday and say, can you be at the studio at Tuesday, 7 a.m., there's no way I can do it.
Even for me as the presenter, trust me, I keep on telling people that I still don't get used to waking up that early and getting to the studio in time for all of that. And so I can imagine how career women, professional women, going about their day, their duties or their work all throughout the week, how difficult it would be for them to actually make it to such a program.
I have some kind of reputation of being a firebrand or something, so it depends on what the issue is. But generally, they have been favorable to me. But I want to qualify that by saying it doesn't mean that they necessarily reach out to women. It's just that I, on some issues, have made myself available. And once you are someone who they interview, then it's always like, oh, call Kina, or there's like a list. They don't reach out beyond who has already made themselves available. And so on Ghanaian radio, even on Ghanaian media, even when there are sectors that are heavily dominated by women, like say education, I call it the invisibilizing of Ghanaian women professionals. You go into the profession and you will find that women are quite heavily represented, like insurance. Yet when the discussion, when the media house has to actually initiate the discussion, when they have to put on the panel, you see that there aren't women.
My experience with the media has not always been positive. In fact, a lot of it has been negative more than positive. But as a political figure, a public figure, you need the media. So you must appear and be heard in the media. So I've had very tough experiences, particularly when it comes to media appearances. And I always don't relish appearing in the media.
The reason why a lot of people, women, don't put themselves out there, and this is my opinion and my observation, but it's also an opinion, is because they have partners, either husbands or significant others, who may disapprove or are sort of monitoring them. For me, I've been single for a long time, and even when I was married, I was always in a position to speak my mind. You're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. If you're a single woman too, you might also be looking to get hitched at some point. So you don't want to come out as like a firebrand.
Part of who comes on a panel also has to do with the professionalism of the industry. There's a part of Ghanaian professional spaces that has also become informal. People go through their networks. So, and that is a problem when your network is male, or your network is people of a certain group. So if you are from Southern Ghana, your network is Southern Ghana. Rarely is your network a combination of people from Southern and Northern Ghana. Unless, of course, you want to talk about Northern Ghana issues. People who are marginalized are only approached for the issues of their marginalization.
I don't think Ghanaian women have a confidence problem. If you find the right fit, so the right expert for the right subject matter, you'll be very comfortable speaking. You go to conferences, you go to other public spaces, not necessarily the media, and you see women speaking confidently on issues. So they are confident. But I also think that women don't particularly want to be in a fight.
I remember one program that I was on, and everybody was shouting, and from where I'm from, if you're going to have a discussion, everybody makes their point. We make sure that we make connections of the points, we come to a conclusion, like a logical discussion. But I sat there and everybody was shouting, and they were shouting false things, but the moderator wasn't doing anything. And I said to myself, I'm not going to get onto a program like this again. It's a waste of my time.
Recently, I was on a radio program where there were two other speakers on this LGBTQ issue. And there was a gentleman, he wasn't the interviewer, but there was a gentleman on there who suddenly thought he must attack everything I said. And I told him, I said, listen, I'm not here to win an argument against you. That is it. That is when it's personalized and they start to feel like I'm here to win against you. No, I'm here to put my story and my views out there. Let the people then decide, the listeners decide whether what I'm saying makes sense to them or it doesn't. But when you decide that those are your views, I have also got my views and I'm going to pitch mine against yours and we are going to get into this tussle on air. Some of us women are not, we are not like that. I'm not here to win an argument.
The thing I always say about the Ghanaian form of patriarchy as it applies to the visibility of women is that this is a society that believes women should be educated. It's not if it's a no-brainer. Women should go to school. It's okay, and they know, and they joke about it. The women, they do very well with English. They do very well with literacy. They read books, all of it. But when it comes to leadership, when it comes to visibility, when it comes to showing the expertise and being acknowledged for it, that's not something they want women. They want to acknowledge that. Then all of a sudden the avenues are very closed.
People always appear to be surprised when they listen to a very knowledgeable female panelist. Yet that woman may be running a huge corporation where we all benefit from the products. But the fact that, I didn't know, and they'll say, I didn't know she was that smart. I've been on a show and I've been told by someone that, but you have been twice divorced, so why should we listen to you? What do you know about what you're saying? Yes, absolutely. I've also been on another show where the person said, for the single woman, you can ask them, as if we are like a species foreign to everything else. Yes, I have. But I normally will retort, but it plays a role. No woman wants to go on radio and be criticized for her lack of having what society deems absolutely necessary.
Because of my history of Miss Ghana, it would be brought up, because you were Miss Ghana, since you were Miss Ghana, we know you were Miss Ghana, how does a beauty queen become a president kind of thing? And I find that offensive. The fact that I was a beauty queen doesn't mean I don't have brains, so I don't have the ability to lead, And in fact, the fact that I was able to stand up on stage at that age and put myself out should tell you I've got some grit to be able to go out there and be on stage again.
The more visible a woman is, the more she's somehow immoral. At best, maybe she'll be amoral. How is a person in Ghanaian media, a woman in Ghanaian media supposed to do their work and not be visible?
Practice makes perfect. And so when you don't get the opportunity, or if you don't get the opportunity to practice, there's always this thing about you second guessing yourself, that would I even be able to articulate the issues the way I should? And if I'm coming here representing a political party, would I be able to do that to the satisfaction of the leadership of the party and all of those things? So I think at the end of the day, all those things play at the back of the minds of, women.
How do I deal with backlash? Typically is to ignore it. I'm a bit tough-skinned because I'm an academic, and academics are used to putting their work. You write scholarly articles, somebody will review it and tear it down, much to your annoyance. You will revise it, you put it out there. Sometimes people contend with it and disagree with you. So it doesn't faze me. Then I'm a journalist also. So I roll with the punches, And then I'm not so fixated on social media. And I think that helps. Because social media is a very vicious space. And I don't have a big social media presence at all. Part of it is that I'm too busy, and part of it is the fact that I think it's too vicious. And so, luckily for me, when I put something out there and people are criticizing me, I often don't hear. And sometimes when I hear, I just dismiss it because I think people are just ignorant.
We have to look at the impact of women's voices and women's faces in the actions of women, what direction women take because of what they hear. And, it has a huge ripple effect that we have to take into consideration.
I know what to expect when a man speaks to certain issues. There are so many unpredictables that I find when I interview women resource persons. Because there are other perspectives that I naturally my mind will not be affixed to, but they bring that perspective in, and it really helps.
So in respect of women who are at the top, in terms of our political space, I would want to urge them to be embracing and more avail themselves more. At the end of the day, leadership is about service. So when you get to the top, make yourself available, reach out to the people, let them know you're available to assist in any way you can. At the end of the day, you're empowering people, and being a woman, you engaging in that kind of interaction would send a very great signal to people out there, particularly the young girls.
It might not seem like there's a problem, that, oh, what is wrong if we're not speaking to women? But if you're not speaking to women, that means that 50% of this population, their views are missing from national conversations, and that laws and programs and policies are being designed without their perspectives. So the goal is to highlight this problem and then to draw attention of women as well, to say, look, if you have the expertise, could you please put yourself up to speak up when issues in your area of expertise comes up?